morning. On behalf of Attorney Karen Jimeno, I'm Attorney Edwin Lacierda. We'll talk about the changes in our political landscape here, at the forefront. When power rearranges, so does the playing field. In Congress, leadership change doesn't just alter titles, it reshapes priorities, redraws alliances, and redefines voices. So how would the changes in our political scene affect us? What space will be left for dissent, debate, and democracy? Joining our discussion is my former colleague in cabinet, a good friend, former senator and now Mamamayang Liberal Partylist Representative Leila de Lima. Good morning and welcome, Leila.
Good morning, Edwin. Good morning. Thank you for having us in your program.
Her father is a longtime colleague, her first time on Bilyonaryo News Channel, Albay 1st District Representative, Congresswoman Krisel Lagman-Luistro.
Yes, good morning, Edwin.
Morning. Nice to see you, the two of you. So, yesterday, Speaker Romualdez said he stepped down and quote-unquote with a full heart and clear conscience. So, Leila, what's your take on the resignation of Speaker Martin?
I think it's inevitable. They have no choice. And when I say they, even the administration itself, BBM himself, his position now with the mounting protests and the anger of the people and all of these revelations about the involvement of certain members of the House, and then even his name is being dragged into it and has been pointed at also as possibly involved there. His staying or his continued stay as the leader of the House has become untenable. Very untenable. So wala na silang choice. I mean, just to obviate further or the rising political tension. Because indeed, people are getting angry. And sino naman ang hindi talaga magagalit dyan sa mga naririnig na natin ngayon, na mga, I would say, these are just actually tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Marami ba dyan lalabas? Hindi lang yung mga flood control projects na yan, but in certain other government projects, especially infrastructure projects. Because hindi pwedeng ang sarili lang ang isipin, personal reputation, personal integrity, kundi the institution, the integrity of the institution. Yan ang pinaka-importante. At sabi nga ni Speaker Martin himself in his farewell speech, and even dun sa new speaker, no one is supposed to be above accountability. No one, including the president himself. So, no choice.
So, when it happened, prior to that, were you surprised, both of you? Or was it expected sa inyo?
It was expected, yes, Edwin. In fact, I think even the speaker knew that this time will happen. There were talks, earlier.
And there were several attempts to unseat him na, no?
Yes. And kahit naman si speaker, sinabi niya na parang lumalabas nga it's a sacrifice for him for the sake of the House and the integrity of the House, and para magkaroon ng mas maayos na investigation na implicate siya together with several others. So as the speaker, I think he has to really withdraw. So I think that was really his decision.
As of last week, Edwin, ang usap-usapan, yung mga naririnig namin, is that he's just going to be on leave.
On leave.
And somebody else will be the
As
acting.
in on leave,
Yes.
physically on leave, aalis ng bansa?
On leave as speaker, that's how I understood
On
it.
leave as a speaker, and somebody will assume as acting speaker. At
Right.
even then, narinig na namin, it's going to be Congressman, now Speaker Boji D, ang magiging acting speaker. And then the day before, the other day,
It was Monday when he was called to Malacanang.
He was called to Malacanang. Tuesday, nabalitaan namin na 3 o'clock, he and Majority Leader Sandro Marcos pumunta daw o pinatawag sa Malacanang. And after that, nabalitaan na namin that that's going to be his move to altogether resign as speaker, but not as House member. He's still a member of the House.
The PR is he resigned.
He resigned.
Was it a voluntary resignation or was it impressed upon him that now is the time to go?
Ako ang
Sige.
ang duda ko, of course we do not know really. Ang duda ko is the president prevailed upon him already. Kaya nga pinatawag.
Kasi maingay na.
Maingay na, mainit na, hindi na pwedeng
Galit na yung mga tao.
galit na yung mga tao.
Pero nakakapagtaka lang kasi normally, kontrolado ng Pangulo yung House eh. Remember, there's also a leadership change in the Senate. It's harder to do a leadership change in the Senate kasi mas independent republics, that's what we know. Pero ngayon, nauna pa ang Senado magpalit. And in fact, ang sabi nga nila, doon sa nasa lamay ni nanay ni Mar, where we were both there and BBM was also there, nakita, doon daw, sabi ng Bilyonaryo, doon daw pinlano yung ouster ng Chisa.
Well, nakita ko na nag-uusap si SP Soto and BBM. Hindi ko alam kung ano talaga yung pinag-usapan. Kasi yung meron na rin itong president na parang, because nagalit na nga daw si BBM dun sa nangyari sa BICAM noong 2025. And then remember, may mga lumabas na rin about yung mga supposed mga anomalous and questionable projects. Let's say sa Sorsogon, and then sa Bulacan, and then Escudero, the former Senate President, ay parang ang nabalitaan namin, nagalit na rin si BBM kay Senate President Cheese. So
Kasi,
parang it was also a matter of time na magkakaroon na rin ng change of leadership in the Senate.
Ang kwento kasi doon nasa lamay tayo. Nag-meeting sila, ang sabi raw, may boto na ako, Mr. President. Kaya nadiretso na yon. Dito naman sa House, siguro nga tama ka na parang there's still a preference to stay on pa rin si Speaker. But I think siguro nga nag-prevail nga si Presidente. Kung si Speaker Boji D garnered 253 votes and 0 negatives. So how does that reflect on the unity of the House? Or ano ba to? Do you think, alam natin si Speaker Martin was, siyempre, there's always a saying, pag ikaw ang Speaker, you're under the control of the Malacanang, no? Of the President. Do you think that will be the same, a blind loyalty to Malacanang? Or will he give way to the public pressure and give more transparency and accountability to the investigations that's happening?
I was looking at classmate ko kasi sa 11th and 12th Congress, si Speaker Boji. And then, makikita ko sa expression ng face niya, grabe yung burden na haharapin niya. Kasi kailangan niya balansehin. Of course, alam naman natin na siya yung chosen one. Alam
kahit
naman
na ilang
natin
araw
yan.
na previously, alam na.
Alam naman natin na siya talaga yung pinili. But at the same time, may responsibilidad siya. May responsibilidad siya sa taong bayan na ipakita it's not business as usual.
Wait. Teka muna. When you say alam na natin siya magiging speaker, so days prior or weeks prior, he already was preparing for speakership?
We knew that his name was being brought out, and among the others, siya talaga ang medyo nagsistand out for many reasons, no?
Kasi may binabanggit
Teka muna,
na, di ba, si Toby.
ano ang reason bakit hindi pumasa si Toby at saka si Albay? Yan yung kwento.
Well, sila talaga yung mga pangalan na naunang pino-float.
Pero, ano nangyari?
Pero, I think si Toby, siya na mismo ang nagsabi. He told somebody, sa one of our colleagues, sinabi niya na, hindi ako pwede dyan, kahit gustuhin ko man, hindi ako pwede because I'm too radical.
Right.
I cannot be
Ibang
controlled.
purpose ni Toby.
So some of our colleagues were looking at Kong Albay.
Albay.
And Albay was quiet all the time. Wala kaming naano sa kanya, di namin nasa-sense what exactly is his plan or was his plan. So parang malabo na yung dalawa. And then the name nga of now Speaker Boji D, although last week
Also,
it
may
became...
Garcia din. No?
Yes.
May Garcia din.
Sinong Garcia yun?
Anak ni Ted Garcia.
Okay.
Yes, si Abet.
Si Abet.
Ng Davao?
No. Of,
Pablo pala yung sa Davao.
Yeah.
Bataan.
Bataan nga pala sa
yes,
Bataan. Oo nga pala.
Yeah, the late Tet,
Yes,
Gov
yes,
Tet
yes.
Garcia.
Enrique.
Isa siya sa mga anak.
Right.
No? So,
I see. So, well, I thought kay Albay naman because number one, he doesn't have the support of his own bloc, the Visayan bloc. Number two, baka magkaroon pa ng issue kasi he owns an online gambling which is a
Yes.
publicly
Right.
listed naman, in
Yes.
fairness. So those were the reasons why they were not considered. Okay. Leila, critics say that kahit na nag-leave na si Romualdez, siya pa rin, he will run the show. Do you believe that?
Kung nag-resign namin, he
Resigned.
resigned already. Maybe. I really don't know because right now, ang tingin ko dyan, si PBBM na ang take charge.
Siya na ang bumabaston.
Siya na bumabaston. And that's why he had to pick yung fellow, Ilocano from the north. And then politically, talaga naman the Ds have been always affiliated with the
From
Marcoses.
Kabataang Barangay.
From Kabataang
KB pa
Barangay
pala
pa.
yan si
Ako, Kabataang Barangay din ako.
talaga?
Yes, kami yung original. Si Speaker Bonji, sinabi niya talaga yun, magkano
KB.
tayo sa Kabataang Barangay. So, choice talaga siya. Ako even if they deny it, I think that's the fact na siya ang choice talaga, personal choice of BBM. So since he is his choice, then kaya na niya. Na he would run the show, he would make sure that this time around, lalo na dyan sa budget process na yan, wala na yung mga ganon na mga unprecedented.
Pero parang medyo kababalik lang yan, di ba? So,
parang
hindi
first term ulit,
parang
di ba?
first term ulit,
Oo.
parang, so, the positions were not declared vacant. Eh.
Just the speaker.
So, mga kaalyado ni Speaker Martin nandoon pa rin. So, how will that affect his leadership? Kasi hindi niya tao yung mga yun. Eh.
Actually, yung mga other positions na yan, for example, the deputy speakers, we cannot be too sure now. I don't think there's any stability doon sa mga positions na yan. Kasi nakikita nga na those are really, those are close allies of the former speaker, Martin Romualdez. Now, how exactly they will rhyme with the new speaker, we have yet to see that.
And ang standard,
It can always change.
The standard procedure there, once you elect the speaker, normally you also next move is to declare all positions vacant. And because of the budget season nga, baka they'll just postpone
Palalampasin mo
it. Or do you
na.
think itutuloy yung pag-declare ng all positions vacant?
There's always that possibility.
Yes,
in fact, you were
yes.
talking about it, right? Because we were also planning kaming
Bakit
minority.
ang plano nyo? Magiging majority na kayo, sabi ni Egay?
No. Hindi, yung kasi nga, because of all of these fast developments, 2 beses nga kami nag-emergency meeting. No, ano magiging position ng minority, what are we going to do? But one thing is clear, we remain solid and solidly behind the current minority
Sandali,
leader.
dumami ba kayo ngayon?
Hindi.
Hindi.
Hindi. Nabawasan kami ng isa.
Sinong umalis?
JP?
He
So
left.
one of the
He joined the majority?
Majority. Pero Gabriela will be coming in. She will be sworn in on Monday. So halos pareho din.
Who's the representative from Gabriela?
Si Sara Elago.
Okay.
Now, in terms of lumaki ba ang minority, for the 20th Congress, we understand that it's the biggest so far.
Oh,
Yeah, 29.
Compared to other congresses. Kasi yung previous congresses, less than 20 lang daw palagi ang minority. So for the first time, naging 30 tayo, and nabawasan nga. So, malaki pa rin yan.
pansin ko nga, parati kayo nandito sa Bilyonaryo, ikaw, si Egay, so parang marami nga kayo.
Parokyano ka na pala ng Bilyonaryo.
Ikaw, magiging parokyano ka na rin.
And ganado kami to perform our role as fiscalizers. Kasi yun naman talaga ang minority. Why should we become a minority?
Maraming gusto lumipat na sa minority kasi alaga daw ang minority. Anyway, going
Muna,
back...
alaga, Nino.
Nino, Noy.
Akala ko alaga ng majority.
No. Alaga kami. At may mga special time kami with the secretaries, yung mga ganyan.
May constraints kasi ang majority.
Oo, ang laki nila.
Even if may constraints in the sense na even if it's not your personal opinion on a particular matter or particular controversy, you cannot just speak it out. Unlike kami sa minority, we can always speak out.
But going back to the positions, ang pinaka-importanting position ngayon kasi hot issue talaga is the budget. And para sa akin, yung appropriations chairperson, hindi siya talaga yung choice ni Speaker Romualdez.
Si Swansea?
Hindi siya, palagay ko. Iba ang...
Ganun
What
ba?
we hear is that she's the choice of the majority leader.
Yes. yes.
Sandro.
Yes.
Because
So-
former Speaker Martin has another choice.
Right, right.
For,
so pagdating sa
APRO.
budget, mukhang okay tayo doon.
Pero
Parang
based naman
ganun.
sa, mukhang maganda. We've
Mukhang
been
maganda
observing
naman po, oo.
the
She's
budget.
okay. She's competent. Si Representative
Pero parang
Swansing.
kulang pa ng push.
Oo, matututo
Kulang
na
ng tapa.
lang.
Pero I think
Oo.
she's well,
Yeah.
her academic background is
Her credentials is,
nag-Pisay,
yeah.
nag-Harvard, so mukhang maganda naman. Hopefully
At
talagang
saka,
maayos.
alaga ni Papa nung nasa APRO.
Yes. Si
So,
Swansing.
kina-coach siya ni Papa.
Si Mika.
Kaya mahal niya
that's
din.
Kung Krisel, I'll just
Yes.
ask you something. As someone coming from a political dynasty yourself, what's your take on these dynasties' continued dominance? And you said you were his classmate in the previous Congress. No?
Yes, 11th and 12th Congress. Well, para sa akin, kasi sinumulan na natin sa SK. Nasa batas na yun. No? Na fourth degree of consanguinity and affinity, hindi na pa pwede tumakbo. Para sa akin, ipatuloy natin. No? Mas maganda talaga na wala yung mga dynasties para sa akin. Ngayon, ako na lang ang nasa posisyon. No? Ako na lang ang lagman na nasa posisyon.
So, baka...
Edwin, okay.
Okay.
Of course, I've always been anti-political dynasty. But I do realize na halos imposible yung total ban on political dynasty. It's just a matter of regulating.
Right.
For example, anong degree? Second, third, or fourth? I think the compromise consensus, pag I'm talking to some other politicians, is second degree daw. Although mas gusto nila kung mas
mahal.
mas mataas. Regulate, meaning yung mga hindi naman dapat sabay-sabay. Because what do we have now? Talaga mga sabay-sabay. From the national position to governor, to congressman, to mayor, to vice mayor, these are all related. Yun talaga ang unacceptable.
Yun na nga, kung Krisel, Leila, 10 yung miyembro ng pamilya ni Boji na nasa politika ngayon. Medyo, di ba?
Yeah.
And that, but you know, notwithstanding si Speaker D ngayon, galing sa malaking political dynasty. Siguro because of the public pressure, the House and the Senate are under siege. Maybe there's enough public pressure right now para isulong na yung anti-political dynasty.
Yes.
Kasi ano yun kadikit yan ng korupsyon, kadikit yan ng
Yes.
pagbaba ng GDP doon sa mga lugar nila.
It's high time really to push.
Pati push nyo.
To push. I already filed
Naku,
for the
antayin nyo na lang sa Lunes.
anti-political.
May alam ako magbibigay ng privilege speech eh.
Kaya antayin na lang.
Ayan, oo. Kaya sabi ko, i-guess na ng Bilyonaryo, magbigay ng privilege speech. But anyway, people are clamoring now for investigation, not just
Right.
resignation. No? How soon can an investigation on Congressman Saldico and the former Speaker Romualdez start?
Okay, what we have now, yung dalawa, yung infracom sa House and the Blue Ribbon sa Senate. Now, in both investigations, dun lumabas yung ilang mga pangalan. But I do believe na hindi pa yan kompleto. We don't know how accurate the lists are. Yung sa senators naman, dalawa lang ba talaga sila so far? And then we have this ICI.
Right.
Now, ICI is a good start. It's a presidential creation. Pero talagang maraming mga limits. As an executive creation, as a presidential creation, may mga limits talaga compared to if it's law created.
And foremost, the pinaka-limitation na hindi nakakatulong ay, ano yung problema nila na meron sa mga legislative commissions?
The
Power to cite contempt.
Right,
walang contempt
right.
powers.
Very clear yun sa legislative
Right.
bill. na
Yes,
yun.
yes. It
Diba?
can only be granted by law. May subpoena powers, pero walang contempt
The
power.
coercive-
Anong silbi nun?
Correct. Yung
Yes.
coercive authority ng isang commission ay kulang kung wala kang contempt powers. Kasi if you read the EO naman, and I read your legislative proposal, malaki
Difference.
heaven and earth yung
And we can always improve
diferensya.
pati on that.
Correct.
That's why we're insisting on it. And we hope na i-certify as urgent ng Pangulo. Kasi mapapalakas. Now, of course, we now have the 3 members. Kompleto na yung members ng ICI. Now, sila pa rin ba ang magiging members? Of course, the likes of Sec Babes is welcome
Right.
to stay really as a member.
Hindi, pero in your bill,
5.
5, pero bawal ang incumbent public
Right.
official. So,
Correct.
out si Mayor Magalong.
It
Hindi
looks
naman siya
like it.
member.
Although
Hindi siya member.
hindi siya-
Parang ano lang naman
Pero
siya.
it doesn't say
advisor.
it doesn't,
Yeah, it's an
you don't distinguish it.
Wala pa sa.
Di ba?
We need to further deliberate on that.
Pero I agree with you na mukhang mas maganda kung walang incumbent.
Yeah.
Mas magiging independent.
Mas talagang
Mas
independent
magiging
talaga.
independent. Oo.
Tsaka talking about independence, kung presidential creation lang talaga, EO, they cannot claim full and genuine independence.
I'd like to ask you, and this is from on the public comms and on the legal side, a commission created by executive order has its inherent limitations.
Yes.
The lack of power to cite contempt, you all just encourage, kahit subpoena mo, walang contempt, so you cannot really coerce them to appear. Plus, it requires a lot of cooperation from other agencies, hindi ka pwedeng ikaw mismong gagawa. Do you think that creation of the executive, an executive order creating that commission was a immediate public response to a crisis or talagang seryoso silang i-investigate talaga? Kasi on paper, mukhang maganda, no? May powers, but like you said, kung walang contempt, walang saysay. But ano ba ito? Para lang matugunan ang galit ng tao?
Well, it's clear that's an immediate response,
Right.
immediate reaction, and so we can really give credit to the president. But as to exactly, kasi may mga duda ako sa certain provisions like the sunset clause, which is found in Section 10 of EO 94. What does it say? Yung lifetime ng ICI, Independent Commission on Infrastructure, it becomes functus officio upon accomplishment of its goals, unless sooner dissolved by the president.
Right.
So what is that? So anytime, it remains to be the privilege and the pleasure of the president to put an end to that, kahit hindi pa tapos. Like for example, what if at any stage, at some point of the investigation by the ICI, evidence would now start pointing
Towards.
the office of the president himself.
Alam mo, may isa pang issue dyan, and this will involve your dad, no? During the time of President Aquino, he issued Executive Order number 1 for the Truth Commission.
Yes.
Ang father nyo, final sa Supreme Court, sabi it's a violation of Equal Protection Clause. Kasi bakit lang ang period ni administration ni GMA? Dito sa EO, and your father won that case, so that's why the Truth Commission was abolished. No? Dito sa EO 94, 10 years lang.
Yes.
Pwedeng gamitin to nila Sara Duterte, nila nasabihin, bakit kami 10 years na ang ginagamit yung Would you think that would be, if it was filed in the Supreme Court, it might be a case of a violation of equal protection?
I'm not sure if the Supreme Court would be convinced that it's a violation of the Equal Protection Clause if we compare it to the Truth Commission. Kasi talaga naman na naka-focus lang sa GMA administration, although I actually disagree with that ruling. Kasi dahil the acts of corruption then pertaining to the GMA administration was evident enough. Now, what's wrong with that? Di ba? Yung prerogative yan. Kaya lang maybe there are other considerations kung bakit ganun ang nangyari. Now, this time around, 10 years, so BBM, Duterte, and a portion of Pinoy's administration. Now, in the law, we specifically, actually conscious ako na wala mo nang ganon. Walang ganon.
Frame, walang
Correct.
time frame.
Walang frame.
Wala yun sa inyo.
Wala lang. Yung lang is about yung term ng Independent Commission Against Infrastructure Commission. 2 years.
Bakit nga 2 years lang ang ang life nyo?
2
Or
years
unless the law-
extended
Yes.
by law.
It can
Para
be
first to
extended.
compel the commission to really do it
Work.
fast, to really work.
Look at it.
Hindi yung buying time. And then to us parang yan ang kaysa naman instead we were looking at either 1 year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Kung 4 years, it will go beyond
The term.
this
But
administration.
it's a law. It doesn't matter if it goes beyond the...
Yes, but we can never tell kung ano.
You never can tell,
You
ah.
can
You can
never
never
tell.
can
So, 2 years to us, reasonable, but it would also be reasonable for that commission to ask for
extend.
extension.
Right.
And it can be granted by the legislature. Madaling i-justify yan. Unlike nga yung EO created, unless sooner dissolved. Kahit
the
nga walang
president.
reason. If the president wants it dissolved, especially na if it goes beyond the term of BBM.
Right.
And let's say, Sara Duterte becomes the president. At makita niya na maraming natatamaan doon sa mga proyekto ng Duterte administration. So she might just well say, okay, enough with that. Let's just revoke the EO. I'm now the president. I can do it.
I agree. And that's why it's important for us to have a commission that is crafted by
law.
by the legislative branch. No?
Yes.
And dun sa Senate version naman ni Tito Soto,
Senate.
SP, kanya 3 years ang term ng mga officials, pero walang sunset clause.
Wala.
Wala ring sunset clause yung sa kanila. So, kanila pwedeng forever.
Yes.
As if envisioned to be a permanent.
But I am confused with his version kasi meron siyang final report. Kayo may periodic reports kayong binibigay sa presidente. But anyway, it's important that you are on track to create an independent
Yes. And we will still
commission.
deliberate on that. We will
Right.
still,
Right.
mag-uusap pa rin ng Senado and the House.
Sana bilisan nyo,
Ano
kasi-
yung pwedeng i-combine. And that's why we want the President to certify, it as
certify.
urgent.
Okay.
Otherwise, baka ilang buwan yan.
Just to be fair to the President, I think seryoso siya na gusto niya talaga may action galing sa Malacanang. Gusto niya may action galing sa Malacanang. Although, nauna yung Senate na nag-file nito, and then si Manay Leila with us, and then the President.
Pero mukhang ano ito, ha? Parang, I don't think the palace knows the full consequence of this. Kasi once you let the toothpaste out of the tube, you can put it back. Posibleng maraming tatamaan, posibleng baka may tamaan anywhere. Kasi nga, it's a question of sinong aawit eh. Sino ang nilalaglag na ngayon ng house si Saldi. Eh kung Saldi and Martin Sem are always being mentioned
Together,
especially by the Discayas, eh kung ilalaglag mo si Saldi, what would stop him from decided? Parang ang sa akin lang, hindi kaya mukhang maglalaki pa to beyond their control?
Certainly. I think yan ang naiisip ko rin. Marami pa dyan lalabas. You can never tell na kung saan talaga hanggat ano. And even nga, as I mentioned already earlier, what if meron din culpability ang Office of the President? Lalo
Exactly.
na nga dun sa mga unprecedented cuts and insertions, because I find it hard to believe na totaling hindi alam yon ng Pangulo. But although I'm casting the primary blame on BBM, sinabi ba nila kay President Marcos, kay Bongbong, na ganun, sir, mukhang ang dami nilang mga iniba dito.
On DBM pala.
Sa DBM. Sila dapat na mag-clear niyan before ipresenta nila sa Pangulo for signing.
I think tinanong ni Senator Marcoletti yan kay Secretary Pangandaman. Mukhang iwas pusoy si Secretary Pangandaman si Budget Secretary Pangandaman to. So that's why Marcoleta was also focused on the Budget Secretary. But we'll see. I mean, talagang maraming mukhang tatamaan dito. No?
Ang problema naman nung sa dating leadership ng Senate before SP Soto is parang may makikita
Yung kababayan mo.
May,
Namin.
parang may and then the change of also leadership of the Blue Ribbon Committee.
Right.
Parang meron silang conscious of evading yung mga imbes na mapupunta, matuturo yung Duterte administration. They're not covering nung una the 2016 to 2022
Right.
na
Wala raw resibo. Walang ledger.
Wala
Walang voucher.
mga ganyan. So at least napalitan na. There's a new head, chairperson of the Blue Ribbon. And by the way, today nga is the Blue Ribbon.
Hearing.
Actually, isa sa mga inaabangan ng House, because I talked to Kong Teddy Ridon, di ba, the lead chair of the
Right,
TRICOM.
TRICOM.
Sabi ko, anong balak nyo? Would you discontinue na TRICOM? Kasi
Oo nga.
Infracom, because I've been
Right.
actually insisting on it. Sabi ko with ICI, and then ito ka kong bill na bakit kayo magko-continue pa? Sabi, ang sagot lang niya sa akin, we will wait for Thursday. We will follow the queue of the Senate. So if of the Blue Ribbon, If the Blue Ribbon decides to discontinue, we will also discontinue.
By the way, Deputy Speaker Puno mentioned that he's in favor of discontinuing the hearing in the House. So it might be good to just focus. So, but the whole idea is you want it to be focused na lang doon sa ICI. Okay.
Although, pwede naman kasi, because I also asked again si Chair Ridon, sabi ko, so paano na naman yan, yung mga napapangalanan? How will we handle them? How will we deal with them? Ganun na lang daw. I think it happened already kay Congresswoman Copilar.
Right.
Diba? She was allowed to appear there and then made a manifestation, but was not allowed to ask questions kay Diskaya. Ganun na lang daw gagawin nila.
Won't you be concerned that without the legislative bodies investigating, which they have contempt powers, and then giving it all to a commission which has no contempt powers, babagal yung trabaho doon. So, bakit hindi nyo na lang kaya ituloy? Kasi kahit nasabihin mong you cannot be investigating yourselves, may mga resultang lumalabas eh.
Yes,
diba?
yes.
So,
Actually, ganun din yung mga iniisip ng some of our colleagues na mas maganda yan. Na ituloy na yung ano natin, yung infracom, kasi tingnan mo, may mga naglalabasan na. But so, if it's just the ICI na EO created without yet the
Mas
law,
magandang meron na.
pwede
Patuloy
siguro.
pa.
Let's just allow that for as long as they should be very careful on how to deal. I mean, dapat tama ang treatment nila dun sa mga pinapangalanan. How are they going to handle that? Kasi yun nga ang nagpapaduda sa publiko na there might be some whitewashing there and all that. So basta ba tama ang magiging stance ng committee na yan pagdating sa mga napapangalanan. Pero once there is a body supported by a law, nandyan yung batas, siguro pwede na. Na i-turn over na lang nila later.
yes.
Pero yung ICI, hindi siya open to the public.
Isa pa yun.
Hindi pa ba ano?
Wala doon sa EO na open
kaya
siya
nga,
sa
huwag niyo
public.
muna i-ano. Huwag niyo
Pero
muna.
etong sa Senado at siya sa
ibibigay.
Kongreso,
Exactly.
open to the public.
Exactly.
And doon sa proposed na legislation,
Open hearing pa.
open siya.
By the way,
Oo.
ito naman si Kong Krisel, may personal experience yata ito kay Congressman Saldico.
Okay.
Ano yung you filed a complaint against him? May complaint ba yan?
wala
And by
pang
the way,
formal.
the other thing, apart from that informal complaint that you mentioned, and can you just elaborate later, meron ba siyang insertions na ginawa sa distrito?
2025.
Yes. Oo.
So, noong 2025 budget, si Congressman Edse Lagman pa ang congressman noon. And during the budget season, that was the time that my father was not present in Congress physically because he was ill. And ang ginawa nila sa budget ng First District, meron kasi pong tinatawag na allocated, mga allocables to the district. And usually, it is consulted, no? The DPWH consults the legislator because the legislator knows his district. So would identify local projects, not the national projects, but local projects that were also identified by his constituents. No? Ang nangyari sa budget ni Congressman Edse Lagman, ang natira na lang sa kanya, no, was just, I think, 300 million out of the allocation of, I think, 1.8 million for the First District of Albay. So, all the rest were replaced.
May saldi?
By saldi.
So 800
Yes.
million ang kinuhan niya?
Ang in-identify nila, 1.8 minus 300.
1.5?
Oo, ganun kalaki. Plus may insertion pa. Kasi umabot yung budget for the First District na hindi naman talaga identified ng namin. Kasi mayor ako nun eh. So I was part of those recommending ko ng mga projects na kailangan namin. Ang total na insertion, I think more than 700 million.
So when all these things came out,
nagulat na lang ako. Bakit sabi ko, eto yung lumabas sa budget ng First District. And ngayon, yung mga projects na na-insert nila were called red flagged. Ano ibig sabihin, hindi marirelease. So sayang yung appropriation for our district kasi hindi siya i-release pa rin. Dahil nga siya yung pumunta sa sinasabi natin na hindi farm to market roads, but to my resort.
okay.
Mga
Pala
ganyan.
Yung,
Yes.
road to resort. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk, if Speaker Boji D said change is coming, what kind of change do the public should realistically expect? No? But before you guys answer that, at the forefront will return after a short break. in. We're back, and you're tuned in to At the Forefront. Before we pause for a short break, the question was, if Speaker Boji D said change is coming, what kind of change should the public realistically expect?
Well, based on his statements, what we can expect, and then we would really hold him for that. Talagang sisingilin natin siya, na wala daw siya natatakpan, wala daw siyang parang i-defend ng mga members also of the House na implicated or to be implicated in the investigation, whether it's at the Infracom, at the ICI, o dun sa kung maging batas na yung aming bill. So, yun ang kanyang binitawan na salita. Kasi nga, inulit niya na no one is above accountability. But as to his legislative agenda, priority agenda, for example, we still do not know. I-adapt ba niya yung kay former Speaker Martin Romualdez, or meron din siya mga konting changes. But you know, matetest namin siya dyan sa sinasabi na I will be very serious about accountability, is if he pushes also the immediate enactment of our bill.
Yes.
Kasi madaling ipasa yan if the speaker says so.
Yes.
Right? So dun siya matitest.
What are your thoughts naman on our expectations dito sa Independent Commission on Infrastructure? Itong pinag-usapan natin, isa sila Justice Andres Reyes, ang head, no? Si Sec Babes, and then the SGV Country Manager Rosana Fajardo and Mayor Benji Magalong. Given this set of people, what are your expectations dito sa?
Okay, especially with Sec Babes there, and then this si Ms. Fajardo, with very impressive credentials also in accounting, in detecting red flags, in detecting these anomalies. And then, of course, si Mayor Magalong, Mayor Benji Magalong, although may mga nagque-question about, his political leanings, let's also see how he would perform. No nonsense naman talaga ang kanyang public
Si Senator Trillanes has been pressuring him to reveal the person behind the rock netting in Baguio. Parati niya sinasabi niya, it's a challenge ko si Mayor Magalong. Sabihin niyo, dahil binulong yata kay Sandy Trillanes, kung sino yung kumita doon sa rock netting. Hanggang ngayon, tahimik pa si Mayor Magalong.
And yung association nga niya sa Duterte, especially, and then si Senator Bongo. Diba? So, I don't think meron na siyang denial about that, or explanation or clarification about that. But again, as si Sec Babes being there, I have high hopes.
Yes.
Now, but of course, it's just one member. And it all depends also on, I don't think Sec Babes take the view na okay na, kumpleto na, maganda na yung powers nila. I think he thinks that kulang pa yan. So I think he would be supporting a law that would strengthen and give more powers sa commission na yan. But
Leila, can I just ask you one thing? I remember si Justice Andy Reyes when we were in government. I remember because si Ben Reyes was asking me, sabi mo kay Pinoy, ilagay natin sa Supreme Court. But unfortunately,
several times he
How well do you
attempted.
know Justice Andy Reyes?
I really do not know him. I just know him as a long-time presiding justice of the Court of Appeals. And I also know, as you know, na several times, almost every year nung si Pinoy yung presidente, kasama siya sa short list, and he was hoping. And meron mga kumakausap kay Pinoy na siya ilagay.
Ginawa ba natin siyang presiding justice ng CA or si President Duterte na? Do you recall?
I'm not sure. That even before Pinoy. But he became a justice of the Supreme Court
under President Duterte, I remember that.
It was President Duterte who appointed him. Kasi nga, several times he tried kay Pinoy, but I understand may mga issues, reputational issues against justice.
I've heard about those issues also, but si Boji Reyes, yung close kay Pinoy, siya ang nagpo-push kay Justice Andy. But anyway, so at least we have now the commission.
Yeah, but can I say something about Mayor Magalong? No? Alam ko, elected official siya, pero kasama ko siya sa Mayor's League and sa Mayors for Good Governance. And highly respected naman si Mayor Magalong. And I think magiging patas rin naman po siya. Pero yung sinabi mo nga na sana sagutin niya yon. So yun yung malaking question mark. Pero maganda rin kasi na merong boses galing sa lokal. kahit iko-konsulta. Kasi lahat to local eh. Lahat to nangyayari sa local
Pero
level.
itong mga projects may be in local, pero they're never consulted, they were never told, di ba? If it's a national project, hindi naman inaabiso ang local,
Kami,
di ba?
opo, sa amin, sa distrito namin.
Talaga, si Governor Dolor, hindi niya alam eh.
Hindi kami talaga, tinatanong kami, eto, pinopresent sa amin kung ano ipipresent nila sa National Expenditure Program at dumadaan sa Regional Development
So,
Council.
depende yan sa LGU pala?
Yes, at sa district,
Ang problema,
DPWH. Oo.
okay, ang problema, yes, linalagay sa NEP, kaya lang,
Pagdating
nga
sa BICAM, maniobra.
gravely mangled. Halos hindi mo na makilala, especially the 2024 and the 2025 GAA.
Okay, let me just say that yung mga insertions, hindi dumaan yon sa consultation, hindi rin siya dumaan sa Regional Development Council. Kaya hindi namin
Itong mga
aprobado
insertions
yan.
are national projects in your district.
Yes, national and local,
And local.
projects. Kasi 70-30 yan noon eh. 70% ang national, 30% local. Ngayon nga medyo in-expand na nila, naging 40% na ang local.
Let's talk about today ngayon ang Senate hearing. Maraming mga exciting na mangyayari. I was thinking last Tuesday, bakit walang hearing ang House? Nag-aabang ako.
Because of all these things happening
Yeah.
about the
Right.
leadership sa House. And yun nga ang sabi ni Congressman Terry Ridon na
They'll take the cue from
parang
the Senate.
hintayin muna nila what would happen today at the Blue Ribbon.
So, sa press conference ni Senator Lacson, he mentioned about a CCTV revelation. So, he'll reveal it today. Evidence of a senator's probability of receiving kickbacks. Now, ang tanong ko, shouldn't the House also prepare a similar expose? Wala ba kayong hinahandang mga expose?
Well, kasi nga, nung humarap yan si Mr. Curly Discaya, halata naman, nagsisinungaling,
Oo nga,
and evasive,
Oo.
may mga pinagtatakpan. So,
You were grilling him like...
yeah, I was trying to control myself, pero hindi ko na makaya. So, sabi ko nga, hindi ka pa nakakalusot sa amin next time around. Marami pa kaming itatanong sa'yo. So, I don't know what would happen. Mag-a-appear pa ba sila uli dito sa Blue Ribbon?
By the way, I'm question, are you in discussions also with the Senate Blue Ribbon? Kahit papaano? Nag-uusap ba kayo separately with members? Like for instance, si Risa?
As far as I know, hindi. Well, of course, kina send Risa, kina send
Kiko.
We communicate from time to time, pero wala naman yung talagang formal coordination.
But in terms of because the whole idea of Blue Ribbon is either magpa-file ng case, but at the same time, mag-suggest, recommend legislative bills, no?
Yes.
Are you in somewhere along those lines?
At this point?
Not yet with respect to this subject matter of the Blue Ribbon. Pero in other areas like sa agriculture, and then even sa mga sa committees ni Sen. Risa, I've already adopted as my counterpart bill a number of the bills filed already by Sen. Kiko and also kay Sen. Risa.
Okay.
Mga counterpart bills para mas madali na isulong. But with respect to ano yung magiging possible outcome of the Blue Ribbon Committee, we're not yet there.
Kaya muna, tumaas ba ang kilay nyo nung nagkita si VP Sara at saka si Senator Marcoleta? Ano reaction? Anong nyo?
Well, alam naman natin na si Senator Marcoleta is, ang leanings niya is towards the Dutertes. Kaya nga nung siya pa yung Blue Ribbon Committee Chair, he's trying to deflect, he's trying to talagang as much as possible, hindi muna ma-take up yung mga projects na yon under the Duterte administration. It was concentrating only on the BBM administration. And nakita naman natin yung kanyang mga moves also, actions when he was a member of the House of Representatives.
We've been talking about salty. By the way, I have a question. No? We've talked about the insertions in 2025, no? And all these insertions, as mentioned by Deputy Speaker Puno, were part of the nangyari sa BICAM, no? But nobody has seen the BICAM report, or have you seen one?
I won't say,
Because, that is the...
I've seen the 2025
BICAM
Okay.
report.
BICAM report, but I'm not at liberty to show it to anyone else.
But essentially, what does it, is it a smoking gun?
Of course, it's a smoking gun.
What does it basically contain? Anong nilalaman
Kasi
ng BICAM report na yan?
No, under ano pa kasi yun, somebody is actually doing a deep scrutiny, exhaustive scrutiny of the bike. I assigned somebody to look into that. Ang alam ko lang at this point is as for 2025, yung total budget cuts and insertions niya was 487.5 billion pesos. And then, supposedly, ang portion nun ay napunta na dito sa mga questionable na mga flood control projects. But it's just about what, 30% plus or 40% plus?
Of the 400 plus billion?
Yes. So, ang hinahanap o pinapahanap ko ngayon,
Nasaan
dyan
yung
sa
iba?
Nasaan yung iba? Saan dinagay? Saan in-insert? Kasi more or less, alam namin kung ano yung the AKAP, for example. Because AKAP was never in the NEP. It was also not in the GAB, I think. Was it in the GAB? O nasa ano na lang, sa BICAM? But definitely, it was not in the 2025 NEP. So
Right.
it was one of the programs na pinondohan ng mga cuts from other. Questionable kasi ang cuts. Kasi di ba when the President, the Executive Department, prepares a NEP, it mirrors his priority plans, his priority programs. So kung galawin mo ng gusto, pakialaman mo ng gusto, in major proportion, like what they did for 2023, 2024, and 2025, necessarily, apektado yung development plans. Kaya nagtataka ako, bakit hindi umangal yung executive nung nandun na yung mga insertions
May
na
question
yon?
ako, bakit hindi mailabas-labas ang BICAM report? That's a public official document.
Exactly. We're also
And
pushing.
you don't have the 23 and the 24 pa.
I don't have the 23, 2024.
But my question is, why
BICAM.
isn't it being disclosed by, who has possession of those reports?
Both houses, dapat.
Secretary?
Yes.
It's supposed to be with the Secretary
And who
because
gives-
that is an official report. A BICAM report is an official report because it is
Let's
the one.
challenge the new speaker.
Yes, it is the one
Yes.
presented to the House and also sa Senate, sa counterpart, for ratification. Di ba? Magba-BICAM, so they will present a BICAM report. But that should be ratified uli. Kasi sa BICAM nga, ginalaw. So it's supposed to be ratified.
Na-ratify na yun, obviously.
Ratify.
It's supposed to be
Pero
ratified.
wala nga kopya.
Pero
Walang mga
walang
numbers.
naglalabas. So
At
when
saka, ang boto mo lang is
when
approve or not to
Congressman
approve.
Toby Chanco was asking for it, wala. They were mum. Parang they were evasive about that. No one has came out from the majority and especially yung sa APRO committee and tell us na nandito sa amin. You know?
That's a problem. May problema doon kasi kahit bago na ang speaker mo, pero yung mga nakapaligid, yung mga may hawak niyan, tao pa rin ang dating speaker, baka hindi pa rin nila ilalabas yan. Kaya siguro kailangan ninyong...
Isa yan sa mga challenge talaga kay Speaker Boji D.
So, aabangan namin yung BICAM report. Dapat lumabas kasi dahil sinabi mo na nakakagulat yung nakita mo, baka lalo pang magalit ang taong bayan pag nakita nila.
Exactly. Hindi pwedeng that they will really keep it. They will conceal that because it's our public records. And we will continue to push for it. Just sa plenary deliberations, I will still be raising that issue because I was not satisfied with the answer of the DBCC, especially of Secretary Pangandaman. Ganun
Right.
lang sagot niya. We don't have the capacity to detect. So in other words, he's feigning innocence.
Right.
Na wala silang pakialam. Yung parang kasalanan na yan, BICAM,
Pero
wala
may
sa
portion
amin.
ng BICAM report na Venito. So, ano ibig sabihin? Alam nila.
Exactly.
Correct.
Alam nila, may Venito ng portion, pero yung iba, hindi na nila ginalaw.
Ay, nako. Nakakadiskaya. Taga muna, si Saldico has not been around. He's out of the country. And if he refuses to come back, should Congress
So, anong
expel him?
pwedeng
Well, yes, hypothetically and legally, yes. Because, okay, for example, sa Infracom, mapangalanan siya uli. And then Infracom has to summon him. And so, but, wala. But I don't know. We don't know which country because reportedly wala na sa US. He transferred to another country. Baka yung
A
country na yun,
non-extraditable
walang
country.
extradition treaty tayo. So we will stay there indefinitely beyond reach if there is no extradition treaty. But in the meantime, di ba katulad din ni Teves? Di ba? He was ultimately expelled. Kasi
Right.
wala nga siya, fugitive siya. So, although merong formal charge na
Right.
against former Congressman Arnie Teves. Now, especially if formal charges or former Congressman Congressman Zaldico would be formally implicated or charged, pwede na.
Leila, can we consider the legal maxim na flight is an indication of
Oh
guilt
yes, I always believe
applicable
in that.
to
I always
Saudi?
believe in that. Kasi
So,
nga,
kung ayaw bumalik, feeling nyo, guilty
yes,
siya.
Yes, like katulad ng mga the likes of Harry Roque.
Oh,
Why
okay.
is he
Nga
not
pala.
coming back?
Kapwa spokesperson ko, nasa abroad pa pala.
Bakit hindi siya bumabalik dito? Flight is indicative of guilt. He knows that. He's a lawyer. And kaya nga ako, kahit nahirapan ako, and never kong naisip na tumakas.
Pero Naila, representative siya ng isang party list.
Yes.
Okay, so how does that work kung sa party list?
The party list can always have the option to replace him
Replace
with the next nominee.
Hindi siya regular district representative.
So he's the first nominee, the second nominee is
So si Garbin
Kong
na, ang aakyat.
Pero member na kasi siya.
So may magre-replace.
Merong
Yung
magre-replace
third nominee.
from within the party list.
So, expel and then yung party list will
Kasi the
nominate
party
another.
was elected eh.
Okay.
It was the party
It's not
list that was
the
elected.
individual.
And this is a legal question, and you're more familiar with this maybe because you were DOJ secretary. Pero you think an ICI can freeze local and offshore bank accounts?
Wala pa yan.
Wala
Diyan
pang
sa-
alin? Ang
wala
power
pa-
sila?
Wala pa yan sa EO.
EO.
Wala pa yan sa EO.
Pero they can request, di ba? They can recommend to
Yes.
AMLA.
They can recommend. Ganon din sa namin, sa bill. And sa bill kasi namin, kasama na namin yung AMLAC.
Pero
we are asking na mag-designate yung mga relevant agencies na yan, including the constitutional bodies themselves, like Ombudsman, COA, and then AMLAC, na part na sila, na i-designate sila sa, they may not be the formal member, kasi sa 5-member commission, but kasama sila sa structure.
Pero can you do offshore bank accounts?
Yes.
Pwede?
Pwede yan. I mean, we will just have to make it clear in the bill, in the law.
Okay.
Not yet defined, not yet expressly defined or stated in the bill, but we can always do that. Meron pa naman pwede pang mga idagdag dyan sa bill.
Siguro, let's move to this weekend, medyo may malaking kaganapan, September 21. May sinabi si Pangulong Marcos na sinabi niya na galit siya at kung hindi siya presidente, sasama siya sa kalsada sa September 21. So, kayo ba sasama kayo?
Ako sasama ako. Both in the morning and in the afternoon. There's
Sa
a
umaga,
morning
sa hapon ng kulay puti, sa umaga, anong kulay?
Hindi ko pa alam ang color code doon. But that's the baha sa Luneta. So I'll go there because I was invited also. And then sa 2 o'clock sa People Power Monument. Yun ang alam ko na, I think originally it was white shirt, but they changed it na any color of the shirt, basta merong white ribbon. Yun ang alam ko na latest. I don't know
Hapon
yet
yun,
the
People
color
Power.
coding or the color code of the morning.
Ano mo, napansin ko lang na ang tao lumalabas sa kalye kapag may ginawang kabulastugan ang Kongreso. Nung panahon namin, million people march was also a protest against the PDAF scam. Tapos dito naman ngayon, ganun din. Itong sa panahon ni Duterte, si Kian de los Santos, di ba, namatay. Pero yung formally, dahil COVID, kung siguro walang COVID, nagmarcha na rin tayo sa kalye. No? So what is your message to Filipinos who will join the September 21? I understand Krisel will be back in Bicol, so baka she won't. And are there no activities
Meron
there?
daw. I just called the governor and he said small rallies, no? But not as big as this one in Metro Manila.
So what is your message
The
to our
message is
Filipino
that-
people?
Please go out of your room, of your home, of your offices. Although it's a Sunday, so please, lahat invited to really join these rallies. You know, it's really an expression of the rage, the people's rage, disappointment, frustration, everything. Yun na naman ang pagkakataon. But, of course, no violence dapat. At sana iwasan yung mga calls for example, for revolutionary government. Kasi that will, alam naman natin yan, ano resulta ng revolutionary government. Ito be an invitation for military adventurism. At lalo na kung military junta, that would be worse. So wag lang ganon. But go out there, express our feelings, our sentiments, and our anger. Raw anger ito. Pero wag naman yung explode to such an extent na gagayahin na yung mga nangyayari sa Indonesia tsaka sa Nepal. And we're not like that as a people. As Filipinos, we're not really inherently, and we are not violent. But we know exactly what is right and wrong. Ginagamit natin lagi ang konsyensya. So yung collective force is always important, always potent, and always stronger than any individual causes. In fact, ang panawagan ko rin, Edwin, is that, okay, minsan nagkahiwa-hiwalay ang mga rallies. There are the progressives, and then the ones identified with the radicals. Minsan hindi sila nagsasama. Pero pareho naman ang kausa nila. When we fight for the same cause, then why shouldn't we be united against common evils?
Nagsasama sila pag rally.
Nagkasama.
Yan naman po, hindi ko maintindihan.
Krisel, kayo.
Palagay ko, importante rin na alam sa local. No? Kaya nga yung ating House Bill, gumagawa kami ng counterpart measures na i-support din ito ng mga local governments, ng mga local sanggunian, para mas marinig talaga yung boses ng tao na hindi lang to dito sa national legislative body, pero pati sa mga local legislative bodies. Yun naman ginagawa ko ngayon.
With that, thank you, Kong Leila, Kong Krisel.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Leadership may change, but the questions remain. How power is shared, how accountability is pursued, and how the minority can make its voice count. In the end, democracy is strongest when every seat in Congress, majority or minority, serves the people. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news, always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for insights on issues that matter. On behalf of Attorney Karen Jimeno, this is Attorney Edwin Lacierda. Thank you for spending your hour with us.